Okay, everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've got Khang back on with us, guys. If you missed it, I had him on previously on another video on the channel. It was fascinating because we talked all about mindset. We weren't planning on that, but it just happened. Amazing conversation. I really want you to watch that video if you missed it. But this video, we're going to actually talk about wholesaling, specifically how to get started with no money. So Khang, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here.
Jerry, once again, thank you so much for having me on the #1 YouTube channel podcast when it comes to real estate investing, wholesaling, fixing, flipping, and buying rental property, man. Thank you. And it's an honor to be here. And for every one of you listening, if you follow Jerry, you don't need to follow me. There's no more value that I can add because Jerry have gave him all away. Unless you like my sense of humor, if you want to go along for a laugh, then yeah.
That's not true. You've got a lot to share, and I'm excited to kind of open up the lid and have you share some ideas. I know you work with a lot of people that are new into wholesaling. In fact, I have a lot of people I talk to that saw one of your shorts or one of your TikTok videos, and they're like, I heard about wholesaling from Khang, and now I'm doing more research. So you've helped a lot of people just gain awareness of what this industry is and the opportunity. So thank you for that. But as I know you're talking to a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, and many people that get into wholesaling, they've got very limited budgets. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have no money. I have people tell me I have no money for marketing. I don't have any money even for an earnest money deposit. What do? I want to change my life. I want to get into this business, but I don't know how to get started with no money. So let's talk about this. What are some ideas? I've got a few ideas, but what are some ideas that you've helped people with that are kind of no money strategies to get that first deal?
You got it, Jerry. So listen, Jerry just mentioned, if you can't come up with $10 for an earnest money, maybe this scheme is not for you.
Yeah. Like
I'm serious, dude. Like if you can't come up with $10 for the earnest money, I'm not talking about 1,000. I'm not talking about 10,000. I'm talking about $10. I'm talking about $100. And you can't do that. You don't have what it takes. Like, I just want to get straight to the point. Like, this game is for the real people that are hungry for success. So for me, Jerry, when I first started, I do expired listing. Cost no money. All you need to do is join your local REIA, REIA. Join your local REIA. Now you don't even have to be in person. You can link with people on Facebook or social media. Connect with an agent. You got to come in with value. Don't be like, hey, Jerry, can you send me expired listing? No. Hey, Jerry, listen, me and my partner, we're a local investor in the area. You don't need to say you're a wholesaler. Most agents don't know what wholesaling is. And listen, everybody has a different way of doing it. I'm just sharing with you what I did. So I typically call them and say, hey, my partner and I, we do a lot of fix and flip in the area. Love to work with the #1, the best agent in the county. All right. And I Google it. I got your name here. So here's what we do is we spend a lot of money marketing, right? And we get a lot of seller that calls us. And that a majority of them, obviously, that it's not going to work for us. They're not willing to sell at the discount because they're not in a distressed situation. So all those leads, Jerry, I'm going to send it to you and you can call them and you're going to be our refer agent. I'm going to tell them, hey, listen, it seems like we're not going to be able to work this with you, but hey, I got the best agent, right, that I can send you that can help you list your property, get you top dollar. Would that work for you? Boom. I'll send it to you, Jerry, and I can send everything over to you. Now you're adding Jerry value because Jerry doesn't have to market, right? Because same thing, realtor and wholesaler are very, very similar, right? So I sent it to Jerry. So now Jerry's getting free leads for nothing. And then Jerry in return, and Jerry, you know what? In return, Jerry, would you be able to give me access to expired listing or give me access to the MLS? Okay, so they can add you an assistant or give them the password, however you want to do it. Okay, if you got the money, just pay them. Say, hey, Jerry, how much does it cost you, man, for you to hung your license or whatnot? Pay for it. Hey, Jerry, what if I pay for all of that expense for you so you don't have to worry about it if you can just give me access to expired listing? And that's free, right? Now that you got money, the other one, you don't. You come in with value. And what I did, Jerry, is I tell them to send me everything that are 6 to 7 year old. Don't get anything 2 to 3 years from now because last year, the market house is way more expensive than it is today. All right. So you want to go back as far back as you possibly can. 6 to 7 years ago, house prices are not as much as it is today. Expired listing are people that list their property with the realtors and are now going through the process of showing their property, all of that. And for whatever reason, they can't sell it. Now they don't want to deal with realtor, etc. And listen, when you call them up and you tell them, hey, no realtor commission, no closing costs, no this, no that, I buy the property assets, like everything is music to their ear. And if you catch the right one, right? If you catch the right one, when they talk to you, they don't talk about today price. I'm telling you, because they listed 6-7 years ago, even if they know the property appreciates, most people, if you're not in the real estate game, you don't know how much real estate has appreciated. So they typically, if they ask you 10% more, you're still winning. The market has gone up 20, 30, you're still winning. So typically, I'm telling you, they negotiate with you on the price that they had it listed, because they said, hey, if I list it for 100,000 and it didn't sell, there's no reason I would want more. And the thing is, they're so set to that price. They're so set to the price that they already listed. And when you pick up the phone, find the right one, you negotiate from there, you already winning. And so some of my deals that I started out, expired listing, and I bought some rental property off of expired listing as well. And I think expired listing is the one thing that not a whole lot of investor wholesale actually target. So yeah, for no money, that's best.
Love that. Let me see if I can recap and make sure I've got this down. What you're saying to do is you're saying call up a top producing agent in your market. And they're easy to find because you see them everywhere. They're advertising. Their website will have, all of their closing transactions, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. So Jerry, when I say top, it's just you boosting the ego. Listen.
Yeah.
Top.
So they don't even have to be a top producing
correct.
agent.
So the thing is, Jerry, I think it's best to find an agent that are just merging into the game. That's why you go to the local RIA. They're just merging into the game. Okay. They get excited to partner up and team up with other investor wholesaler in the area, right? And then by building that connections, I think it's best. I think because top agent, they're too busy to work with you.
Okay, good. I'm glad you clarified that. So not necessarily a top retail agent, but maybe a newer agent. They're hungry. Correct. And what you're going to say to them is you're going to say, listen, I come across leads that are retail. They don't want to sell at a discount. I'll bring you those referrals. And so now what you said is you're bringing value. You're not asking for something first. You're saying, hey, can I bring value to you by bringing you leads that I can't convert because they want retail? You can pick those up as listings. So now you've got their attention. Now they want to work with you because you're bringing them leads, listing leads. And then in return, you're saying to them, hey, for doing that, I need you to give me access to the MLS. Now, guys, the reason why you want MLS is because expired listings are on the MLS, and you don't have to get access to the MLS. You don't necessarily need to have a real estate license. If you do, then great, you can get MLS. But most MLS systems, like Khang mentioned, you can get set up as an admin underneath a licensed agent. And so what I teach people how to do, Khang, is offer to pay their MLS dues, whatever it is, $100 a month. Say, hey, I'll pay your MLS fees every month. All I need you to do is spend 10 minutes, set me up as admin underneath you. You'll get your own login, and now you're in the MLS. Then what Khang said to do is go back and look at the old expireds, not like they just expired, but old, years old. You'll get that list, and now you can call up those sellers where the property didn't sell for whatever reason. And now you've got a lead type that might still be motivated to sell.
1,000%.
And that doesn't cost anything. That doesn't, right? That's
correct.
A free type of lead.
Correct.
Strategy.
Yep, that's correct. And then also too is, network with realtors. So, we're talking about the freeway here. So the freeway, network with realtors, right? Network with realtors. Just when you go to talk with realtors, listen, you got to come in with confidence. All right. And I know when you first start out, you haven't done any deals or anything like that. Just think in your head that, hey, I'm partnering with Jerry. I'm in the flipsters, right? I am with the tycoon here, right? So when you go, you got to go with confidence. Present yourself like, hey, we buy a lot of fix and flip in the area. Love to work with you, Jerry. If you have anything that comes across, like we buy any condition, any situation, Jerry. And regardless of how bad the house is, we pay cash. We can close quickly. All we care about is the numbers. As long as it works, we're fearless when it comes to rehab. And when realtors hear that, they loves it, right? When they come across property that are either burned, mold, or whatever it is. Some investors will not buy it because they're afraid of that heavy rehab. But the uglier they are, the more money you're going to make. As a wholesaler, you're not fixing flipping. You're just assigning.
Right. So Khang, how does somebody who's new gain that confidence? I mean, you can do it and you sound like a pro on the phone. How does someone brand new, how do they gain that confidence?
Gotcha, man. Listen, when I first started, Jerry, it took me 6 months to get my first deal. And I'll tell you why, because I suck on the phone. I suck. I didn't know. And I think a lot of people, Jerry, and that's why I do the cold call role play, because I think a lot of people underrate the whole talking, negotiating with the seller. They get on the phone they're just winging it. Their first question is like, how much you want for your property? How much you want? No rapport, no asking. Like, you got to know what to say, how to say it, how to handle objections, and how to negotiate. So my first 6 months, obviously, listen, I started out very lack of confidence because I haven't accomplished much. And I know some of you that listen to this can probably relate. And how you build confidence, it's going to be over time and it's going to be, through success. Yeah. But how I do it, Jerry, is in my head. So at the time I hire a mentor. So every single time when I approach a phone call, I say, hey, I'm working with a badass mentor. I'm working with I actually prep myself up right before I actually make the call, Jerry. I said, Khang, you got this. You're the number one. You're the best. I'm working with Jerry. Jerry's a stone cold killer. He got all the money in the world. So I pick up the phone. And it gave me that confidence. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a really big thing is just that practice, right?
Yep.
Guys, I'll give you my scripts to talk to sellers. I'll give you my scripts to talk to agents. You take those. I'm a big believer in role play. Take your spouse or whoever and just practice back and forth. Let them give you objections. You practice answering those back. Or I tell people, cold call in some other market that's not yours and screw it all up on the phone and hang up if you have to. And it's not your market. Who cares? Yep. Just practice. I put out all these videos where it's like an hour straight of like me on the phone. And I tell people, pay more attention to my demeanor, how I say it, less about what I say, more about how I say, because it really comes down to the way you carry yourself. That confidence comes through the phone.
Absolutely.
So if you're feeling like you're timid or you're intimidated or you're lacking confidence, that will get better and better and better as you practice.
Absolutely.
So just go through your 10,000 hours or whatever, of trying and learning and practicing, and you'll get better and better and better.
And the thing is, a lot of times, like you don't know what's your mistake. Yeah. Because you don't know what's good and what's bad. So I highly suggest that if Jerry's giving away his script, come on, man, shit, you better grab that puppy and you better practice. Because a lot of times, like, well, if you don't know what to say, how do you even practice, right, Jerry? Because you got to understand, to sell yourself or your company, your business, your service, you got to know what you're talking about. You got to know what you're selling. So the thing is, Jerry, a lot people keep on pounding the phone without knowing how to talk and negotiate. And they try. So what I tell them is, you're trying to get lucky. So do you try to build skills or try and get lucky? Because only so many of us can get lucky. Like the thing is, for example, if Jerry jumped on the phone, he probably only need to talk to 100 people and he can probably get 1 or 2 deals under contract. You might have to talk to 1,000. But the problem is, majority of you have already gave up before you make that 1,000 phone call. So which means your conversion rate, right? So which means a lot of you are calling, even if you come across a motivated seller. Just because you don't know how to say it, you don't have to talk, you don't have to negotiate, you don't have to maneuver through the phone call, handling objection, and you don't know how to obviously lock them up and offer, like you're going to come off very scammy. And that's what happened to me. And Jerry talked about, calling other cities and states and just make the mistake. I did. My first 6 months were calling Craigslist. And I didn't know what I was talking about, Jerry. My phone call was like this. Hello, yes, your property here, 123 Apple Streets. What do you want for it? Like literally, my phone call was straight into, what do you want? How much money do you want for the property? So Jerry, after 6 months, Lon, the wifey, she's like, listen, Khang, I need to listen to your call. And I was shy. I was embarrassed, right? I say, I don't want you to listen to my call, right? I got my ego. So anyways, she listened to my phone call, Jerry, and she said, Khang, listen, bro. And she called me, bro. She said, listen, bro, you sound like a scammer. You sound like you don't know what you're talking about. if I was a seller, there's no way in heck I would sell you my property. She said, Khang, you need coaching. You need mentor. You need someone to show you because nobody will sell their property to you. And Jerry, I make thousands of phone calls. Yeah. And then when she said that, I listened to my call again, Jerry. So for those of you who don't record your phone call, I highly suggest that you should. I listened to my phone call, Jerry, and that's when I realized she's right. And obviously I took the leap of faith and got the mentor. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, good for you that you were humble enough to recognize that, because that's how you were able to then fix those things, gain the skills you needed. You know, sometimes we're in our own way. A lot of times we're in our own way and we don't realize it. So good for you. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
I totally agree. You know, guys, like you've got to learn how to present yourself, how to carry yourself, how to overcome objections, how to have confidence. All of that comes through. And, you know, the big thing that I like to tell myself is, you know, every no is that much closer to a yes.
Absolutely.
And so then that allows me to continue to bring energy to the call. If you don't have the right energy, then they're going to feel that and you're going to kill the deal, because it comes through that lack of energy or that lack of excitement or lack of, you know, confidence. It's going to come through. So
1000%.
That's a fantastic strategy. I love that. That's a no money down strategy. Real quick, I'll share one too, since you mentioned Craigslist. Yeah. One of my favorite free strategies that we still do today quite a bit is we'll go on Craigslist and rather than look for distressed properties for sale, what we do is we look for landlords that are posting rental properties.
Ooh.
And we call up and we say, hey, I'm not calling as a tenant, but I'm calling because it looks like your property just went vacant. Looks like you're looking to rent it out again. Do you have an interest in selling? And my hope is that I'll find a tired landlord, and I'm hitting them at the exact right time because they just had a vacancy. So now they're not making money. They're trying to get a new tenant again. And I can't tell you how many times they say, well, yeah, I mean, heck yeah, I'll sell it for the right price. I like tired landlords because they're investors. So you can cut through all the crap and just kind of get right to it. It's more about the numbers, and you can have kind of a direct conversation. There's less about the psychology and finding out the motivation.
Love it.
But we find a ton of deals that way. Or they'll say, no, you know, I don't want to sell this one, but I got this other dog rental that I hate. I'll sell that one. And it's free. It's just calling for rents on Craigslist. That's
Jerry, it. I think right now that's a killer list to hit. Whatever we have been through, the C19, I don't know if I even allowed to say it on YouTube, but the C19,
don't say it.
man, there's a lot of landlord that wants to get out because of they dealing with the renter, not paying, evictions, all that. It's a killer list.
Yeah, definitely. So that's another free one. So guys, Khang and I could probably talk here for hours about other multiple ways to get in this business. But if you have a mindset that I need money, you're missing the boat. There are lots of free techniques to generate leads and get deals. Definitely, as you do deals, reinvest back into your business, back into marketing, back into systems, back into tools, like back into coaching. Like I'm such a believer in those things. The point though is not to say I can't get started or I can't do this because I don't have money. I love what you said in the very, very beginning, which is if you can't come up with some to get into this business, it's not for you. Like if you can't come up with $100 or whatever it is, I've got a student who shared with me that they delivered pizzas part-time in the evenings to come up with a little bit of extra cash so that they could start their side hustle and do some things, right? So don't tell me that if you have a Netflix account, don't tell me you don't have money because you're watching Netflix instead of side hustling to either get some capital or to go find deals, right? So I don't buy it. When people say I don't have any money, I don't buy it.
Yeah, Jerry, Ray, you mentioned about Netflix. I think Netflix is what, $20 a month now?
Yeah. I think they raised it. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, $10,
listen,
$20.
I went on an Instagram live today, Jerry, and I said, listen, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you got no time for Netflix and chill, baby.
No time for Netflix or cable. Yeah. Or video games, or any TV. You don't got no time. You don't have time for that.
You don't. I love it.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Well, Khang, thanks for sharing that tip. That's an awesome strategy. I'm going to be talking to my team about that. I learned a lot from how you're doing that with agents and those expired listings. Phenomenal.
Oh, stop it.
Guys, do this right now. This is a really cool technique. Whatever you're doing, add this as a strategy, because for sure, those expired listings are gold. Those are gold.
And Jerry, I want to go. I really want to ask you this, because obviously we both are wholesaling completely virtual, and I know that it's been becoming very popular, and people want to go virtual, especially seeing you living in Puerto Rico, and being able.
That's a good R roll there.
And be able to like wholesale here in the U.S., man. Like how did you build such a badass virtual wholesaling business like that, dude?
Well, it wasn't easy. And I've been doing it a long time before it was even a thing that we didn't even call it virtual wholesaling. What happened was I was in my backyard market in Metro Detroit, and I was just in such a grind that I was making all the decisions. If I wasn't there, things didn't get done. And my wife and I, our dream was to go on an RV trip with our kids. So it took us 2 years to actually like get ready to do it. And then we left. I had no idea how I was going to keep doing deals, because again, I was fixing and flipping and wholesaling, and I had to be there every day running around ragged, and we left. We just got in the RV and we left, and we did it for a year. We didn't know how long we were going to do it. We did it for a year, and it forced me to stop being the bottleneck. It forced me to develop people. It forced me to use tools and technology. And so that was the only way I could figure it out, because I had such a control issue that I had to leave. So I don't know if that's the right answer for everybody, but if you could treat your backyard as if it were virtual, as if you weren't there, just that mindset alone is going to force you, like, stop going out to properties, guys. Stop going to properties. What a terrible use of your time to go look at property. I haven't looked, unless it's for fun or to make a video. I don't ever go to properties. In fact, most of the deals I do, I never see ever from start to finish. I own properties that I've owned for years and I've never physically seen. And I hope I never do see them. So you can do it, but you've got to immediately change the thought of, I got to go see it. I got to touch it. I got to meet people there. No, you don't. And the minute you decide that you don't have to go see properties, you'll start down the road to create the processes you need to then do deals virtually.
Ooh, Jerry, man. Bro, you're right on the money, Jerry.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, because when people think virtual mean, I need to go in another state. No. Virtual mean as long as you don't see the property, you don't need to meet the seller, you don't need to go out there and deal with the buyer. You're virtual, my friend. And what Jerry just said, so obviously when I merged into wholesaling, I was, going out negotiating, doing everything in person. And one day I said, no, I just did, dude, I want to be able to go to Vietnam for a month and still be able to wholesale. I want to go to Puerto Rico like Jerry and still be able to wholesale.
Still do deals.
So I decided anybody that wants me to go out and see the property, I'll tell them that I don't, right? I'll tell them I don't. I tell them, wait, once we come to an agreement, then yes, we'll have our contractor, our partner to go out there to look at the property, to check everything out. But Jerry, so I got this lady, she was like 20 minutes away from our property, and I end up not doing the deal. Okay. So I don't know if it's right or a wrong move to do, but I decided I'm going to go virtual. And I said, no, you know what? If you need us to see the property first to sign the contract, we're not the one for you. And it makes me think everything, Jerry, just like what you said, finding the tools, the systems that actually work with wholesaling, because I cut out the whole thing where I'm going to meet the seller and see the property.
Yeah.
And it makes you get creative.
The thing is, it's not that you don't see properties, it's that you don't see properties, right?
Yes.
Like we call it boots on the ground. I have boots on the ground that are going to go look at that property and tell me what the heck's going on and take pictures. I don't need to go do that. Build out the right team, the right people that can do these things for you. And you know what? There's something to be said for your backyard, rolling up your sleeves, going out and meeting sellers. There's something about that, right? Like, you're going to convert. You're probably going to convert more if you met every single seller in person. But at what expense? What's the trade-off? What's the trade-off? I would rather have to talk to more sellers and have a lower close ratio by doing it virtually and live wherever the heck I want than to have to go in person every time the phone rings. I'd rather. All it means is I got to dial in some things. I got to build out better processes. And now I don't have to go look at properties. I don't have to meet sellers and have them cry on my shoulder about their problems. I don't have to meet cash buyers again and again and again at the house. Dude, that is worth whatever price you have to pay to go virtual. It's worth the learning curve. It's worth the parts of it that are challenging. It's worth figuring that out to me because it's so conducive to lifestyle. Khang, you can go to Vietnam, you can go anywhere in the world and still do deals when you learn virtual.
At 100%. You see, when you do it physical, like going out and meeting, just like what Jerry said, even though you're converting, maybe it could be a little bit better, but you're constricting. You're limiting yourself to that certain market because you have to be there and actually doing it. So Jerry, I get people ask me all the time, man, and I love to know from you, obviously, 20 years in real estate, man. When you put on the ground, like what are some good solid techniques or ways to build relationship and find foot on the ground? Because I get people ask me that all the time.
Yeah. So what I like to do, what's worked really well for me, is I want to have 2 or 3 different people in my virtual market that I could call at a moment's notice and they could be at the property in a half an hour. The reason why is because when I do virtual and me or my team, one of my acquisitions people are on the phone, we want to sign a contract before we hang up the phone. Because if I hang up the phone and we call them back, I'm going to lose the deal. Or if I send them my contract and they look it over, they're going to use it to shop my offer to somebody else. Okay. Right. So we don't hang up the phone without a contract, meaning we send over a digital contract. We're still on the phone. We walk through it with them and we sign. Wow. Well, that means I haven't seen it, right? Because I'm on the phone with them.
Right.
So that means I need someone to do a walkthrough, get the right pictures, make sure we're not missing anything. And typically I pay $50. Maybe you pay a little bit more, but around $50. The person I have do the walkthrough, they don't need to know a thing about construction. All I need them to do is take really good video and really good pictures. That's it. So I get like, a freelance photographer, or I usually put a post on Facebook Marketplace. And we have people that make a couple $100 a week in some of my markets, and they're just available, right? Like if they're not, I call another one, they run over there, they meet the seller, they take the pictures. They don't have to talk to the seller about the deal. They're not negotiating anything. They're just getting me data, information that I don't have. So that I have good information to make sure that my deal is good, right? Nice. So that's it. It's really a lot easier than people think.
So now, Jerry, how can you prevent? So let's just say once they got the property under contract with the sellers, they got pictures and everything like that. Now, when it comes to showing the buyer and you're not there, how do you do that? Because a lot of people say, hey, what if the buyer goes out there and try to steal the deal and blah, blah, blah? Jared's going to answer.
So a couple of things. First thing is it's standard policy for us to file an affidavit of memorandum.
Oh, okay.
Title. Yeah. And title can do this for you. You send it over to them. They'll record it. It clouds title so that if they backdoor you and try to close with another title company, it'll pop up and they won't be able to close. So that's just a standard process. It's easy to do. I have that for free. I'll give you that for free. I'll put a link in here. And just ask title to record that for you. Again, all it's doing is it's recording your interest in the property. That's all it's doing. But it red flags title that no one can close around you. Second is I like to do what we call an inspection party, is what we call it. And what it is it's a set time, and we invite all of our cash buyers to come see the property during that window, like an hour, 2-hour window. We want to create like an auction environment where there's like a competition, right? So then 10, 20, how many ever cash buyers hopefully show up. If it's tenant occupied or the seller lives there, then we give the seller a $100 gift card and say, we need you to leave so that our partners, investors, and contractors can come to the property.
I like that.
Yeah, get them out of the house. They're thrilled because they just got a $100 gift card.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to leave. And then everyone comes in. Hopefully and we give our suggested price. And then we say, make your offer by tomorrow at noon, highest and best. So we give a price, and there's strategy there as well. We might go a little low. And what we're looking for is we're looking for an outlier. We're looking for that cash buyer willing to pay more than everybody else that really wants it. They'll go out of formula sometimes. That's what we're looking for. And then we take the best offer and accept that offer. And again, everything we do digitally. So a digital assignment over to that cash buyer. If you're really worried about your seller or a tenant interacting with your people, then you could have a babysitter. Sometimes I'll ask like an agent that we work with when we resell, or you could have your boots on the ground guy that takes pictures. Just say, hey, I just need you to stay with the seller, make sure nothing weird goes on. So there's some things like that. It could happen, right? It could happen where the seller doesn't leave and one of the cash buyers approaches the seller and tries to cut you out, right? Those things happen. It's unfortunate. I hate to say that there's that kind of thing that goes on in our industry. But if you do those things I mentioned, it's going to mitigate most of that. It's very, very rarely will that happen. And again, if you file that affidavit and memorandum, it doesn't matter if they backdoor you, they're not going to be able to close around you. And I've had it happen. I've had a seller call me up and say, hey, I'm trying to close right now. You filed this thing. I can't close. And I said, yeah, remember me? Remember me? I'm the one you signed with first. Cut out. And they're like, dude, I need you to remove this. I'm like, I'll be happy to remove that for 10 grand. Right. So I've had that. I've had to do that a few times.
Jerry, I love it, man. And you guys, once again, I say Jerry is such a go-giver, man. He's giving out script. He's giving out contract. He's just giving out everything. So your boy King Kahn got to give something away from this to add a little bit of value. So for those of you listen, when you want to, take pictures or go inspections and you do it virtually, there's a company that called WeGoLook.com. WeGoLook.com. They're basically like Uber for the real estate industry, but you have to have an LLC. They don't work with you like an individual. So you have to have an LLC and you call it up, you set up the account and they charge. So let's just say you like, hey, so they actually go out there on behalf of your company. So they'll get a phone number from the seller for you and they'll call the seller up. They'll set the appointment and everything, right? And they go out there on behalf of your company. They take pictures. They can do video for you as well. They can also do an inspection for you, like get you a full inspection report as well. So I think pictures will cost you about like $90 or $100. Picture and video will cost you like $170 or something like that. So just so those of you who want to use it, if you want to, obviously go virtual, it's WeGoLook.com. That's it.
WeGoLook.com. Do you know if they're in every market or certain markets?
I think they're in every single state. They're basically like an Uber. Obviously like an Uber for the real estate industry. Obviously in some markets, just like Uber, they'll probably likely have less people. So it's take longer time. But so far, we do in Arizona, Washington states, and Florida. They typically, do it with like they get action within a day or two, and they can get you those information.
That's great. So I'm gonna try that out. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely, Jerry.
Great. Well, Khang, we're out of time. I know you got a busy schedule too, guys. Thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you. I love spending time with you, Khang. I'm so grateful for our friendship. I was in a place of need here a few months ago, and you dropped everything. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I hardly knew you and you dropped everything. You overnighted me. It was just, I was like, wow, what a great guy. What a good dude. So,
bro. Thank you so much.
Friendship.
Bro, thank you so much. And I got to tell you, the whole time I was texting to Jerry, I honestly thought that I got scammed. I said, God, it'll be weird if I ask him to send me over a picture, but gosh, I hope that he can read my mind, send me over a picture of him. I literally thought that I was talking to someone that's not Jerry. So, hey, bro, I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Thank you for your patience with scheduling this too, because it's been a kind of a wild summer, but awesome. Well, guys, thank you everyone who's watched this. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to put Khang's information below too. If you haven't, be sure to go check out his YouTube channel, doing amazing things. Be sure to subscribe to his channel. He's teaching some really good strategies like he shared with us today. So do that. And we'll see you on the next video. Thank you, everybody.
Jerry, thank you.